If we could get everybody eating this breakfast in the morning, we would have a lot smaller of an obesity issue. People would feel better, they'd be healthier, they'd be fitter, and it literally takes 2 minutes to make. As a nutritionist, I've literally worked with thousands of people, and without a doubt, the meal they skip the most is breakfast. And this is backed up by the research. This huge review included 25 studies, and among young adults up to 30 years of age, breakfast was the most skipped meal. So you have to ask, why is this happening? In the study, researchers most commonly reported with the participants who skipped breakfast, lack of time, lack of hunger, trying to lose weight, and it's just habit to skip breakfast. So what if I had a breakfast that solves all of these at once? What if it takes only 2 minutes to make the night before? You don't even have to spend time in the morning. If you're busy rushing out to work, that's fine. What if it's so delicious you don't even need to be hungry to look forward to it in the morning? Because that's a complaint a lot of people have. I wake up and I'm not hungry. Now you might be thinking, Patrick, why the fuck would I eat in the morning if I'm not hungry? Well, that's a good question. First off, that lack of hunger is often based on your routine, the routine you're giving your body, which has now become accustomed over weeks, months, maybe years of not eating breakfast to not being hungry for something it's not going to get. Now, from a nutrition perspective, why am I a fan of breakfast? Firstly, because it can help power us to move more throughout the day, thereby burning more calories, getting fitter, getting more steps, for example. It can fuel better cognitive work, especially in high responsibility jobs. It can help reduce cravings for less healthy foods. And that is shown in the research too, which we'll come to. So back to the legendary breakfast. You might already have some guesses about what it is, but before I reveal that, let me just quickly run you through the reasons why it's so insanely powerful. Whether you have a fat loss goal, which I've made a specific recipe for, or a weight gain goal. Now I've made these already, but we're gonna go step by step, like a live breakdown of each ingredient for the fat loss recipe and the muscle gain. And then I'm gonna break them down nutritionally. I'm gonna give you the calories, protein, fat, carbohydrate, fiber of both of these. So the benefits of this breakfast. First of all, the ingredients are all things you're gonna have at home, or at the very least, you'll be able to pick them up at any grocery store near you. Second, it's super cheap to make. I did my calculations on this, and it's less than $1 a bowl. $1 a breakfast. 7 days a week, that's $7. Third, it literally ticks every nutritional box that you need in a meal. I'm talking protein, complex carbs, fats, fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and it tastes like a fucking dessert. So you can wake up in the morning, you don't have to be hugely hungry, and you'll still look forward to this meal. The meal is called overnight oats. Now, if you're trying to lose weight or body fat, breakfast is still hugely important. I know it can seem enticing or attractive to skip it because you're saving on calories, but you're not really considering how you're gonna act later without that filling meal in the morning. You might eat less, but you might also move less steps, less likely to go out for that walk at lunchtime. You might eat less, but also eat less protein throughout the day because you're missing out on a key meal where you can get 20 to 30 grams in, which then puts your muscle at risk when you're in a caloric deficit to lose the weight. You wanna lose the majority of that weight as fat. You might eat less, but you might be more cranky. You might feel hungrier. You might make mistakes in work, and you might make bad food decisions in the late afternoon and the evening. That's huge. And that's why, as a nutritionist, to you, I'm a big fan of breakfast for pretty much everyone. So, what's in the bowl? We start with the oats, just regular oats. They can be the quick oats or they can be regular. Steel cut doesn't work as well. For the fat loss recipe, it's 1/3 cup. For the weight gain recipe, it's 2/3 of a cup. 150 calories, 300 calories. Now, you will have heard health influencers hating on oats. It's crazy. For me, it's one of the closest things to a superfood. They say it's peasant food and it's bad for your blood sugar, it's bad for insulin. That's simply not true. I mean, depending on the amount you eat, you might see a spike in your blood sugar immediately after eating, which is normal. As an evidence-based nutritionist, I'm more concerned about the long-term effects of eating oats consistently. This study did exactly that, and they showed that among people with diabetes who already had issues with blood sugar management, those that consumed oats and beta-glucan, which is a fiber from oats, had no negative effect on blood sugar. In fact, it actually had a benefit, a slight improvement versus the control condition. Why does that happen? Because there are complex carbohydrates in here which take longer to break down and digest, and they provide us with longer, slow drip energy throughout the day. Because they're high volume, they also, especially when they soak up the milk or the water, they fill us up for longer. But more importantly, they are rich in fiber, especially soluble fiber. And this slows the absorption of other nutrients. It keeps you fuller for longer. It feeds the bacteria in your gut. It keeps you regular using the bathroom, which is really important when we talk about colon cancer and the rising rates, which eating more fiber reduces the risk of. And it can help you manage cholesterol levels, so improve your heart health if you eat more of it consistently. It's like a magic fucking nutrient. And guess what approximately 90% of Americans don't eat enough of? It's fiber. Hence the clickbait title of this video. Next, you're gonna add a cup of low-fat milk for the fat loss recipe, or a cup of full-fat milk to the high-calorie recipe. And if you're wondering about the healthfulness of dairy milk, Low-fat dairy is a pillar of the healthiest dietary pattern on earth. And I'll give you a second to guess what that is. It's the Mediterranean diet. And it's been shown in huge studies that 2 to 3 servings of low-fat dairy a day provides more health benefits than none at all. So do with that what you will. Next is one of my favorites, peanut butter. So this is regular peanut butter, which you can use 2 tablespoons in the high calorie recipe, which runs almost 200 calories. For the fat loss recipe, if you don't mind spending a little extra, you can get PBfit, which is essentially a dehydrated peanut butter, and it's pretty much in every store now. I go to Market Basket and this is what I get. 2 tablespoons, the exact same portion, runs 60 calories with 1.5 grams of fat, whereas this has 16 grams of fat. So 2 tablespoons of this in here, 2 tablespoons of regular peanut butter in there. Now lastly, before we let that sit overnight, blueberries. 1 cup runs about 85 calories. You can see them in here already. You can also add strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. The more berries, the better. Why am I a fan of berries? The dark colors, the dark red, the dark blue, that shows you that they're rich in antioxidants, which are really important micronutrients. They also pack a punch of fiber, which makes them fantastic for those that worry about blood sugar and the effects of eating fruit. 1 cup of berries has almost 4 grams of fiber, which is huge. We have one more major ingredient to add in before we pop them in the fridge overnight, and that is protein. 1 serving of protein, right here, it runs about 150 calories for 30 grams of protein, which I'm really happy about. You don't need more than that, plus there's also some additional protein from the milk. There's a little bit in the oats, peanut butter, although the last 2 aren't very high quality sources, but you don't need to put 2 servings in here because I'm gonna show you what the total of protein for this dish is in a minute. And that's it. You put a lid or tin foil over these and let it sit in the fridge overnight. But because I'm prepared and I like to have this most days, this is from yesterday. So as you can see, it's a lot thicker because the oats have absorbed the liquid. And it doesn't look amazing, but I promise you, it is fire. So now, to top that off, you could slice a banana. I don't recommend putting the banana in because it does get soggy if you leave it overnight, but you can slice up the banana thin, put that on top. If you have a little bit of whipped cream, you could put that on top. What I like to do is a little Ferrero Rocher. I have it left over from Valentine's Day, and I just crush that up. And here it is. I could just fake it, but I promise you, this tastes unbelievable. Oh my God. It's like a dessert. So let's see how these break down nutritionally. In total, with the oats, the protein, the milk, berries, and the peanut butter, the low calorie option has roughly 540 calories, 9 grams of fat, 68 grams of carbs, 49 grams of protein, and 9 grams of fiber. You can make some simple adjustments to make that lower calorie, just in the portions. And the high calorie version, 874 calories, 60 grams of protein, 28 grams of fat, 103 grams of carbohydrates, so that's great before a heavy workout, and 15 grams of fiber. 15. That's the video, guys. I hope you tried this recipe out. If you do, let me know in the comments any additional ingredients you added in, whether you liked it or not, and I'll see you in the next video.